So today is our 4th trading day this week so far, and we've taken about 4 entries in the gold market, whereby 3 of them went straight to our target, and one of them took out our stop loss. But still, the market has given us about 618 pips, guys. So I want to do a quick market recap on this and show you how I caught these entries, and maybe how you can react to the market if you find these kind of opportunities in the future in the market again. And again, another thing is I'll do a market analysis whereby I'll show you what I'm expecting the market to continue to do further, because the market has been respecting all the setups that I've been having from last month, or even from the beginning of this year. If you've been following me, you know how I have been doing all this. You can also check these trades. I did share them in my free Telegram channel. You can go check it out if you're not there already. So right now, I want to show you how I took these entries that ended up giving me about 618 pips. So the first thing that I normally do, guys, as always, I have to understand what the market is doing from the bigger time frame. And in this case, because already from the daily time frame, I had understood what the market was doing from the previous analysis that I was having. I had understood that this market is still on a downtrend, and it was giving us those impulse and correction. So this is the impulse and correction that I'm talking about at this point. So this is the impulse that you are having, then the correction impulse. So at this point, I had understood that this market is still on a correction phase. You see, that's from the daily time frame. Then going down to the hourly time frame, understanding that this market is on a correction phase, but still looking at it from the 4-hour time frame, I was seeing it giving me bullish structures from the 4-hour time frame. So I understood already. The first thing is I understood that from the previous week, probably we had this impulse move at this point. Then after having this impulse move, another thing that we normally expect after having an impulse move is the market will have to give you a correction, of which that's what the market was giving us at this point. So at this point, we did take some entries all the way from down here. Last week, I did the market recap on those. But today, because these are the only entries that we've taken this week, I want to show you how I took this one. So the first thing is, after understanding what the market was doing from the 4-hour time frame, let me show you the kind of structures the market was giving us down here. Because if you can look at this market down here, we were on this uptrend, whereby we see this market was giving us these higher highs and higher lows at this point. So we were having these higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So these are the higher highs that I'm talking about. So at this point, the market was giving us these higher highs, higher lows, give us this higher high, higher low, higher high. We have this higher low down here again. Then at this point, the market didn't give us that higher high. So instead, it gave us this lower high at this point, then went down a little bit, then gave us this kind of pattern at this point. I'll later explain to you what kind of pattern was that. Then after that, we see the market giving us these bullish structures at this point and pushing all the way up there. So at this point, the first thing that I normally do is I understand where the market is going, and the way I understand that is through using these trend lines, because these trend lines are key, are very, very important when it comes to trading the gold market and any kind of market. At least they help you understand which direction the market is moving to. So the first thing is I did draw my trend lines just like this. So I had my trend lines all the way from down there. Then after identifying now this is what the market was doing, so I went to the smaller time frame, which is the 1-hour time frame, and tried to understand what the market was doing from there. So looking at this market, understanding already that we were on an uptrend, so I wanted to see maybe reversal patterns at this point, or at least confirmations for me to take any kind of entry at this point. So you see, at this point, after we had these higher highs and higher lows from this point all the way down, from down here, we had this higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So the market was giving us these kind of structures from the 1-hour time frame. So I wanted to look at it from the bigger time frame perspective, which was this from the bigger time frame perspective, which was the 4-hour time frame, which was this kind of channel that we were in at this point. And looking at this market at this point, I was seeing this kind of impulse move corrections. Let me show you the impulse move. So we were having this impulse move, gave us this impulse move, we had a correction, then the market gave us again an impulse move, correction, impulse move, then we had this big correction. After that we had another impulse move, we had a correction. So after this correction, you see, we took advantage of it, whereby the market pushed all the way up and giving us another impulse move again, correction, another impulse move, correction, impulse move. So that's what has been happening. That's what has been happening. So I want to show you some of the patterns again the market did form at this point. Remember, I did a video showing you the kind of patterns that you should be looking for when trading the gold market. When you're trading the gold market, there are only 4 key patterns that you should normally be looking for, and that is the inverse head and shoulders. Look for double tops and double bottoms. Those are the key patterns that you should normally be looking for when you're trading the gold market. And in this case, looking at the 1-hour time frame at this point, this market was giving me this inverse head and shoulder at this point. So the first thing is, I understood that the market was on an uptrend. That was one reason for me to start looking for buy entries, because when you see the market is on an uptrend, there's no reason for you to be looking for sell entries in a market that is trending upwards. So understanding that this market was on an uptrend was just one factor for me to consider before taking any buy entry at this point. Then I needed another reason to take this entry. Another reason that I got at this point is this market was giving me this impulse move. So I was having this impulse move. So this was a correction phase. So understanding that this market was giving me a correction phase at this point, that was another reason for me to expect to be looking for buy entries in this market again. So at least up to that point, I had 2 reasons to take these entries. So the next thing I did is I tried to identify another reversal pattern that I could find at this point. And you see, this market gave me this kind of reversal pattern, came down a little bit, went up, then came down again, went up, came down, gave me this inverse head and shoulder at this point. So seeing this market giving me this inverse head and shoulder at this point was another reason for me to take these entries. So we had this inverse head and shoulder at this point. Let me just draw this so that you can see it. We had this inverse head and shoulder at this point, and you see the market gave us this inverse head and shoulder at this point where we had I'll also show you how I identify that area again. So you see, at this point, this is where we had the support zone or our demand zone. You see, the market came all the way down here where we had our demand zone. That's where it gave us this right shoulder at this point. And again, when you look at this point, this an area where the market also gave us our third touch from this 4-hour trend line. So the market came down and gave us our third touch at this point. And you normally know that whenever the market is giving us a third touch again, that's another good place for us maybe to look for opportunities to go into the market. So that's exactly what the market did. The market came down to this point and I saw it rejecting around this area. Then after seeing the market rejecting around this area, I wanted to have at least other reasons. So up to this point, at least I had 4 reasons for me to go into the market, but still that wasn't satisfactory to me. So I wanted to look for more reasons. So I took out my Fibonacci tool from this point. Then I tried to measure the retracement that this market was giving us at this point. So you see, this area down here where this market was reacting to, this was the 61.78. This was the 61.78 area at this point. So this is where we have our 61.78 area at this point. So this area down here is where we had our 61.78 area. And normally, looking at the market, when the market is reacting around the 61.78 area in the Fibonacci levels, those are the key areas that I normally look for when trading, especially the gold market, as I told you guys. So another thing that I looked at this market is this market was giving us this correction at this point. So I told you guys, looking at this market giving me this correction at this point. So I had this kind of structure at this point. Let me draw this. So I had this kind of structure at this point whereby the market had already given us our first touch at that point. Then we had this kind of structure at this point because this was a downtrend. So we were on this downtrend from the smaller time frames whereby we see the market giving us our first touch at this point, then we had a second touch at this point, then again we had a third touch at this point. Then seeing this market reacting around these areas, I had enough reasons for me to go in and take my entry. So I went in and took my entry at this point. I had my first take profit at this resistance zone that we had at this point. Then again, another target was over here where we had this resistance zone at this point again. So after that, I did take my entry at this point, went all the way, the market went all the way, took out my first take profit at this point. Then after that, and it continued pushing up. So at this point, I decided to close all my entry at this point because I was seeing these kind of rejections at this point, this kind of correction at this point, and I didn't want to hold my entries through all this because, you know, normally the gold market might reverse and take out whatever it has given you. So I didn't want that to happen. So I decided to close my entry at this point, closing with about 189 pips in the market. So which means that was a successful day. Then coming to the following day, you see, looking at this market again, I was seeing this kind of bullish structure at this point. You see, from the previous day, the market had already given us this. This big impulse move at this point. So what was happening at this point for the next day? That's for our next entry at this point. So what was happening at this point is this market was giving us this correction after that impulse move. Then seeing this correction at this point, this correction is a bullish flag at this point. And normally, guys, I told you from the previous videos that I've been doing, whenever you see a market giving you a bullish flag, that is a continuation pattern. Because looking at this point, so I took my first entry up here after seeing this market closing above this area. After seeing this market closing above, breaking above this area, I did take my first entry at this point, which wasn't correct, whereby the market went down again and took out my entries because my stop loss was down here. My stop loss was just below this area. Those was my stop loss. So the market went down and took out my entry at that point. So I took a loss in that entry. But again, looking at this market again, in the second time, I saw that this market was reacting around this area that we are having down here, because remember from the previous day, this resistance became support at this point. So after this resistance becoming support and see this market giving us this correction at this point, so I decided to take my buy entry again from this point. And again, looking at this point, at this market at this point, this was we had this small trend line at this point where which the market was respecting. You see, the market was respecting these areas. So looking at this point, I took my entry at this point. Then after taking my entry at this point, my target was, this was my first target at this point. This was my first target. This was my first target at this point. So I had my first target at that point. Then the next target was all the way up here. The next target was all the way up here, but I didn't wait for the market to go all the way up there. So waking up today, I decided to close my entry at this point because I saw this market giving me this kind of reversal pattern at this point, and I didn't want the market to take what it had already given me. And again, you see, after that, today, this is the entry that I gave out to the free Telegram community, and all my pages I gave out to all my pages. I gave out this entry. So because looking at this market again, you see, it went up a little bit, broke above this area that we were, it broke above this resistance zone that we're having at this point. So after breaking above this resistance zone, so what was happening at this point is we had an impulse move all the way from this point. So I was looking at this like a reversal pattern. So You see, after this market breaking above this area, it gave us this reversal pattern at this point. Then coming to this support zone that we are having down here, I saw this market reacting around this area because I went again to the smaller time frame, to the 15-minute time frame, and tried to see what the market was doing. As soon as I saw this market giving me these kind of reversal patterns at this point, so I decided to take my buy entry from this point. So I gave out this to the free Telegram community. I gave this to them, and also in my Instagram page, and I gave it to the Instagram page members, the free Telegram community members, and even my VIP members. I told them to take this entry. So after taking this entry at this point, you see the market did play around this area for quite some time, but we didn't go into a drawdown. We went straight into profit. Market played around this area. Then you see the market pushing all the way up and taking out our take profit, whereby we smashed our take profit, giving us about another 169 pips today. So that's how I caught these entries, guys. So that's how I caught these entries. I want again to do a market breakdown, whereby I'll show you again how I'm looking at this market again, and what I'm expecting the market to be doing. And also, guys, before that, I normally use market sentiments and the DXY to try to understand what the market is doing. Looking at the market sentiments, before taking this entry today, the most traders were selling the gold market, and I normally don't want to go do what the most traders are doing. I normally want to go against most traders, so I decided to buy this entry because I saw a larger percentage of traders were selling the gold market today. So looking at that was one sign for me to go in for buy entries, because I normally want to go against most traders, because you know, in the forex market, 90% of traders don't make money. 90% of traders end up losing the money to the forex market, and that's exactly what has been happening all the time. So again, looking at this market from the bigger perspective, you see this market is still on a downtrend from the bigger perspective. That's from the weekly, daily time frame. This is what is happening. The market is on a downtrend. And again, from the smaller time frame, like the 4-hour time frame, these are 4-hour time frame channel at this point. You see, this market has been on this uptrend at this point, but looking at it, it is at this point where we have a resistance zone. Then this resistance zone, we have another resistance zone at this point. So which means this point where this market is a very strong area, whereby I'll try to look how the market will be reacting around this area. Then if I get an opportunity, I'll take my sell entry from this point, and expecting the market to continue pushing down all the way to this area down here, whereby I'll be targeting about 985 pips in this market, guys. So that's how I'm looking at the gold market. If you're not in my Telegram community, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you check the links in my bio. Go check the links out. Follow me in those pages, so if you want to understand how I look at the market. And normally when I give out these kind of trade ideas, maybe you can take advantage of them. So thank you for watching, guys. This is Profit and signing out. See you in the next video. Adios.